Hi everybody, I'm Sandy Putsch, and I just wanted to share a little more information with you about working with children. Now there are all kinds of tips and tricks that we use, but there are a few that honestly I can't live without. Now, the tool that I absolutely have to have when I'm shooting, they're actually two, bribery and the tickler, but the one I want to talk about today is the tickler. Now this is nothing more than simply a feather duster on a long extension pole. Now I probably get asked 30 times a month where I find these, and to be very honest with you, I just Google feather duster extension pole wholesale, and usually I can find a place that will give me they come in cases. I can get 40 of them for like $40, $50. So they're really inexpensive. They're not very long lasting. The ones I've been able to find have plastic handles and they break really easy, but they work great. They're super effective, and for a couple bucks each, it's really not that big of a deal. Now I want to talk a little bit about how we use the feather duster, because honestly, as I said, this is something that is so much a part of my routine with working with kids that without it, I would really struggle. I have to find something to use in this capacity. Now, first of all, let's talk about working with babies. When I use a feather duster working with little ones, typically I can start using it around 6-month age. You want to make sure that they're sitting up really stable, and you want to make sure that they're comfortable or that a parent is close by. Now, with any age and any child, your approach is going to be really slow. You're going to come in really gently. I always go real low down towards the toe. Now, if I see as I'm walking into a child, if I see them kind of pulling back a little bit or they look a little nervous, especially reading their face, they look like they're a little uncomfortable, I'm definitely going to take it really easy, maybe slow down a little bit, and possibly, if I have to, I might offer to tickle mom first. Now, obviously with a baby, that's not as interesting. Usually I will just go in and let them touch it first, let them know that it's okay, then give them a little tickle on the toe, then I can pull back and start that tickle process. But let's say they're closer to a year to 18 months. At that point, if I move in and they're a little bit hesitant, I'm going to say something like, uh-oh, should I get mommy? Now, when I do that, sometimes people think that 1-year-olds, 18-month-olds can't understand. They actually can understand perfectly clear. So if I say, can I get mommy, and then I take my tickler and I give mommy a little tickle, then of course mommy's going to react. She's going to be smiling and having a good time, and that's going to engage the child. They're going to get excited about it as well. So lots of times with young children, I will start tickling mommy first. Then I might, if they're still a little nervous, I'll say, do you want to tickle mommy? And I'll let them tickle mommy as well. So they understand that it's not a scary tool and that it works really well. Now, once I've got the child's attention and I've got their full focus, then all of a sudden the tickler becomes an incredible tool to work with. When I'm working alone, which is a lot of what I do, I have this little game. It's the say rawr game. So what I'll do is I'll take my tickler and I'll go in and I'll say, okay guys, now here's the deal. When I come in to tickle you, you're going to say rawr, and you're going to scare me away. Now, this is always really fun. Now, right off the bat when I say that, they start smiling because they know that we're going to have this little game. So, of course, I'll grab my tickler and I will start moving in. And as I get closer and closer, they're going to scream, roar! And I'm going to run back to my camera like I'm scared, going, oh my gosh, you got me, you got me, you got me. Run back and get those shots. Now, they're going to think that's really great. This technique works really well if you have an assistant, because one of you can stay at the camera and one of you can be what we call the monkey in our studio. So we always have a shooter behind the camera and the monkey outside the camera. Their job is to get those smiles. The nice thing about having two people is, of course, as that photographer, as that monkey is going in to get them, you're capturing all the smiles along the way, because the kids are going to be very excited even before you start the tickle game. Now, we go back and forth with this tickle game, and honestly, it can get us through an entire session. Okay, now it's really important that you change your techniques often. The truth is, the faster you change, the more likely you are to win. When I'm working with kids, I'm always trying different techniques, different toys, different sounds, different noises, just to make sure I keep them engaged. I always say this, but confusion is your best weapon. If they don't understand what you're doing and why you're doing it, they're probably going to just focus right on you because they don't know what's coming next. Now, a couple other things that you want to know. When I work with kids, I use a lot of games that use imagination. When you can get a child involved in a thought process, it works really well. So sometimes I'll say things like, oh my gosh, do you see that ladybug up on the light? Oh, she's so tiny. Can you see her? And of course, you're going to get a child totally focusing up on the light. That's your beautiful to the light shot. And then I'll say, oh, wait a minute, let me get her. And I'll grab that little ladybug and I can take her all the way back to the camera. I'll say, oh my gosh, she's so beautiful. Look right here, and say, hi, ladybug. And of course, that quiet tone, you're going to get them looking right at you with that soft tone and say, hi, ladybug. And you get that beautiful soft expression. Then I'll say, okay, let's go. Should we let her go? and I'll blow her away. And it's funny, kids will watch that bug fly away even though there isn't a real bug. The whole time they're engaged in that thought and they really believe what's going on, so it's a lot of fun. Now there are a couple other games I want to share. One is the counting game. I'll have children come back and I'll say, okay guys, ready? I need you to look right here. We're going to play a game. All right, ready? This is the counting game. Let's see how smart you are. Look right here. Tell me, how many is this? And of course they'll say 5. And I'll say, okay, well, how many is this? And they'll say 3. And then I'll say, okay, here's a really hard one. I bet you can't get this one. How many is this? And they'll, of course, say 0. And I make a really big deal that they know that that's 0. I can also engage mom into this game. Sometimes I'll sneak her away and say, okay, now when I ask you a number, get it wrong every time. So, of course, if I have mom standing right next to me and I say, okay, mom, how many is this? And she says 3, the kids are going to laugh. They're going to get all excited about this because their mom is wrong, and they're going to get really interested in playing that little game. Now, a couple other things you have to know. If a child is really shy and they're not really sure about themselves, I always want to involve mom. I tell mom, it doesn't matter how many times he gets off that couch or he tries to get off the chair, I don't want you to try to force him to be there. Just let him off, give him a big hug, make sure that he knows that he's really safe and that we're not making him do anything. The more times he does that, the more we're reassuring him that it's going to be okay. And at that point, eventually he's going to relax and be comfortable and he's not going to need you as much. So make sure your moms aren't pushing their babies away. Tell them, it doesn't matter, we've got all the time we need, just give them big hugs. It's all about outwitting, and you're going to win this battle, I promise. You just have to have patience. There's always a way to make it happen. You just have to choose and find the technique or the tool that's going to work for you. Good luck with working with kids. Yes, we're done? Yay! Thank you, thank you, thank you. Green M&Ms, where are the green M&Ms? I'm not talking anymore. I'm not doing it.